I get people every week. Every week, the people will send me pictures, text pictures of where they're watching online.
Right. And that's cool. I did have someone take a picture from their jacuzzi with a mimosa in their hand watching me online. Was that you?
No, it wasn't
me.
me.
I thought you said.
It was me. That was me.
I forgot. It was you. It was
me.
Have mercy on us all.
Did I screw that up?
And you can get Listen Up for only $14.99.
Fortunate because we were able to do a couple of episodes, but I've got Michael Jarboe, who's joining me as co-host today.
Well,
because Matt Russell is gone doing Matt Russell things.
Yes.
And if you ask me where that is, I would say maybe Indianapolis.
why is he there?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, the guy is like, he's worldwide jet setter.
All of a sudden he shows up at the Sphere.
Creative things. At the U2 concert.
Yeah, U2 concert. Like he's there. Like there's like LeBron right behind him.
I hate that guy.
I hate him too.
These people, for people who don't know the Enneagram, there are these types called sevens.
Yeah.
And Matt Russell is one, and you are one.
Man.
And these guys are like a little strange. They're like really creative. They're wonderful. They're attractional. People love and want to be around them. They have this fear of missing out on things. They always pop up in the most fun places and spaces and cool things. Like, so what's it like being a like one of those kind of personality
Sevens.
types?
You know, the fear of missing out is a driving factor in my life. And
You're here today doing this.
I know. And honestly,
I thought about not
what?
inviting you and just referencing you
I could-
about, with Paul Chilcote and the book Multiplying. I thought that would be great. And then you would be listening and go,
That would be so funny if you're like Michael Jarboe, who just couldn't make it today.
I wish you could have been here.
you would have, like, you could hear my scream from Memorial.
He couldn't make it because he wasn't invited.
That's right.
He wasn't invited.
He couldn't make it.
Being a 7 is beautiful and painful. I'm a second. I find the silver lining sort of guy in every situation, and that could be beautiful and helpful in situations, and yet also like, Jarboe, can you just grieve for a quick moment? Can you just feel your feels? And it's like, nah, I'm already thinking about the next place we're going to go after here. I'm going to a conference in what's it called? Where's Bluebell? Brenham. And I've already got like what I'm doing before, what I'm doing after, kind of like planned all that stuff out.
They have like the unique ice cream
I
flavors.
know they
there.
do. I'm going to give it a try. But I'm saying that, like, Jarboe, be present at the conference at Brenham. And it's sort of, to me, I'm like, I'm always finding the next thing. And so presence, stillness, those are spiritual disciplines that I really want to center in.
I always think of people who are like 7s on the Enneagram are like cats.
Pardon me?
Like cats.
Say more about that.
Well, I mean, cats are like,
Careful.
You're with them and they're there and they kind of like you. And then all of a sudden, shadow goes across the room and like, boom, they're gone, chasing the shadow. There's a thread hanging from the ceiling that distracts them. They're after the thread. That's what I mean. It's just like,
I think there's a little bit of that.
I think cats are 7s.
All cats are 7s.
No, not all cats.
Yeah. Wasn't Jesus a 7? That's what I read.
Don't know.
In a book written by a 7.
Of course. Whatever your personality type was, if you write the book, that's what Jesus was.
That's what Jesus was? Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're an 8.
I'm an 8.
Gosh.
Yeah, they're horrible.
I don't have an 8 wing. I have a 6 wing.
So I have a 7 wing.
You do?
Yeah.
That's why you and I, in rare occasions, find joy together.
That's why I send you drinks at the Mexican restaurant.
That's right.
Surprise you.
Surprise. What's that meme? Surprise. The Gen
Hey,
Z
one of the
will get
things
that.
I thought, I hope that everybody at Pod Have Mercy, we're kind of back in the flow and we're talking about a lot of different things. We just recently talked with Paul Chilcote from Multiplying Love book, which is a great book. I hope people will read that. But also, make sure you subscribe and like the podcast and check it out. Share it with people. Share it with your friends.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff. I wanted to talk to you. So, Michael Jarboe.
Yes, sir.
You are one of the pastors on staff at Memorial Drive United Methodist Church. And for people who don't know, it's right down the road from us.
Yeah.
We're kind of like sister, brother churches.
Real close.
Real
Yes.
close, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've shared a lot of history. We do a lot of ministry together. A lot of our lay members participate in community events together and know each other and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm interested in if we just talk about, for a few minutes, kind of post-COVID, post-thing. COVID was a real game changer for churches.
Right.
I mean, you all probably, like us, had no in-person for a season. Most of, not all the year. I think we came back in like maybe September.
Yes.
Something around about that.
Right.
Talk about coming back. Like some of the things I think about are, man, it's a new way of doing ministry. We have as many people streaming online every Sunday as we do in the building.
That's wild.
Which is, completely different.
Yes.
And we have to kind of rethink how it is that we do ministry, and how do we make sure that they don't just feel like they're watching a show, but they're participating in part of a community of faith. I'm just curious what you all are seeing at Memorial Drive, kind of coming out of COVID, and what's changed, what's the same, what do you like, what do you not like?
Yeah.
Because you're young and you're hip and you're cool.
Thank you.
Young.
You read my card I gave you, just right there. Young, hip, and cool. One thing I think that the takeaway that's been the best and biggest blessing is just embracing approachability. You've got to make your services as approachable as possible. And so when we came back, we tried to, especially at the Journey. So Memorial Drive is unique in that it's got its sanctuary on what we call the main campus. And then in 2000, we bought a dying shopping center and we turned it into our West campus.
Yeah, I love it. It's a West campus. It's across the street.
It's across the street, right? Yeah. But let me tell you this. It's an eighth of a mile down the road, but to some people it feels like 8 miles down the road.
Probably so.
And it's right next to a TJ Maxx. Yep. And so people say the church next to TJ Maxx, which is our contemporary worship service called The Journey. And that's what I preach each week over there. And we are finding larger numbers post-pandemic than we were before. And I think that's because we've really done our work to say, like, that vibe of being comfortable and being in worship, grabbing a donut, bringing coffee in, letting your kid cry, being this approachable space has really been our biggest factor, in that folks are coming and feeling like they can truly be authentically themselves. They don't have to get dressed up. They don't have to feel like they are having to be a different version of themselves when they come to church. And something about COVID broke that need. And we've said, no. If you're going to come back to church, make sure you throw some slacks on, but just be yourself, enter in, and allow this space to be another home. And then on the flip side, you said, what's been the plus, what's been the difficulty? I think, we upping our game on digital worship, upping our game on live stream has made it so comfortable for people to just like, I know exactly what to do. I get home and I'm telling you, I love the chairs of the Journey, or I love the pews. There's something beautiful about it, but my lazy boy feels so right.
Yeah, I think, and of course, Jeff handles all of this for us at Chapelwood. We have a great team. It's more than just Jeff, but I mean, the technology, the quality of the cameras, the way we even shoot and edit a service, it's more done like a television program or an online program. So you feel pulled in. I mean, you can see him playing the organ or the, panning shots and all this kind of stuff that, like, back in the day, you just had like one camera up there. It was just like, turn it on and you go.
Right.
And now it's an immersive experience. We actually even talk to the online community.
Right.
In the middle of the service, welcoming them. They have their own landing page, their own places they go.
That's big.
And one of the things I think part of that, I wonder that we've done such a great job by making it like a really, really great experience to watch online, that I think a lot of people are like, I don't know. I kind of like this better.
I know. Because
I can turn it on. Nobody knows that I'm walking in 20 minutes late. The average sort of watch time is like right at 40 minutes.
Right.
So
what happens at the end of 40 minutes?
Turn it off.
Yep. And the sermon finishes.
And you don't have to wait. Yeah, no, that's what
right.
And that's one of the things, like, we do the online greeting. We speak to them when we ask the congregation to stand up right before I preach. And some people don't like that, as they think it's like disruptive to the service. And once you explain, it's like, no, that's our opportunity to talk to people who are online. Well, why don't you do it earlier? Well, they're not here.
No.
Guess what? Or they're in getting their coffee, or they're settling in. I get people every week. Every week, the people will send me pictures, text pictures of where they're watching online.
Right. And that's cool. I did have someone take a picture from their jacuzzi with a mimosa in their hand, watching
That's me.
online. Was that you?
No, it wasn't
Oh,
me.
you said. Oh, I thought you said.
It was me. That was me.
I forgot it was you.
That's me.
Just watching,
Yeah.
like,
No,
just
I said
cheers,
that was
Jarboe.
mean.
Oh, mean.
But next time I'm out on a Sunday, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to
Please
send you a mimosa.
do not ever send me a
from the
picture
hot
from your
tub.
jacuzzi. Yeah, I don't need. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think one of the things we talked about this past week that we're kind of playing around with is how do you invest in, like, is this, I mean, it seems like to me it's not like all of a sudden the 1,000 people that are streaming online are all of a sudden going to say, well, we're going to start going back to church now. I just don't know that it's going to happen.
Right.
And again, I'm not making a judgment about that because they're still plugged in. They're still connected to the church. Some of those folks are people who come maybe less frequently and tune in.
Sure.
We have some people that's their primary way they connect with our church. We've had people join Chapelwood from Alabama, Virginia,
Wow.
Louisiana,
Yep.
Ohio, Indiana. Yeah, I mean it's crazy because, and I think part of was the denominational sort of stuff is a part of it. Like maybe their church disaffiliated and they didn't want to disaffiliate, and so through Cameron or James and their Facebook stuff, they have this huge following with the music.
Yep.
And people have found Chapelwood and have now said I talked with a lady not long ago and she's in Dothan, Alabama.
Dothan.
And she joined Chapelwood, and they, I called her up and said, "Welcome to Chapelwood." And I know Dothan, Alabama, because I'm from Columbus, Georgia, so I used to drive through Dothan all the time to go to Panama City Beach. And like next time I go through, we even talked about I said, "What's that little barbecue restaurant right there at 231?" Oh, she goes, "Oh yeah, that's Dobbs Barbecue."
No.
Yeah, I was like, we stopped there every time. That was where we stopped to go on our way to the beach. So it's like not only did she join, like I share some common experience with her.
Right. Here's the nuance, and this is maybe the next level of ministry is how's pastoral care done with people joining in Dothan, Alabama? Like and this is maybe where talked about United Methodism for a while. What does connectionalism look like? So like I had one of my grandmother passed away, and she lived in Montgomery, Alabama. This is a number of years ago, and I, being United Methodist minister, I reached out to First United Methodist of Montgomery, and they were able to help coordinate. And the pastor was like, "I'm here for you. What do you need?" And like coordinate services and get organization on the ground there. It was epic. How can we think about that in regards to people joining, people finding, or even finding community online that live in Houston? What are us as pastors doing to take the next step of pastoral care that can help them do that?
One of the things we were just batted around this week at our budget retreat was like, what about a vision of making everything online availability? Everything we do.
Okay.
So like right now we'll have church on Sunday morning, you can stream. Every once in a while we might have something that we offer a Zoom option for, but a lot of the things we still kind of do. But what if we, I'm thinking the vision of what if we had Zoom rooms, right? We had rooms that were capable, technologically sort of created and crafted so that like we've been doing this men's study on Wednesday night on Richard Rohr's book, Falling Upward.
Great book.
And like, well, why couldn't anyone come?
Right.
From wherever they are.
Right.
Whether they're local or not or whatever. Why wouldn't that be? And when they come, not just like observe and watch, but like participate. Chat groups. And
then maybe do you have any prayer requests? Going that next level. I love that idea.
And have the people in the room sharing in community with the people that are in Alabama or Virginia or Houston or wherever they are.
I love that.
And I just think there's some way we're going to have to move into a new way of thinking about being in connection. I do think that connectionalism, you and I probably have dealt with this where we have people that call us or reach out to us because a member of theirs is going to MD Anderson for cancer treatment.
Yes, 100%.
And their pastor in Alabama or North Carolina or whatever, hey, I found you. Or sometimes I know them and they're like, hey, could you go by and see them? And we put them on our hospital list.
That's exactly
right. Go
right.
by and visit them. I have a friend of mine who's in Panama City, Florida. and he had a couple that was coming for he was coming for cancer treatment at MD Anderson,
Right.
and they were staying out here for a while. And we put them on our list and talked to them and visited when we could, and that's the connectionalism that is
Sure.
really a powerful part of being in a denomination. There's some
Yes.
things that are not great about denomination, but that's what I think. For us, is that same thing? Like you said, you see more people now in your contemporary service. What about in your traditional service?
Yeah, same. But, we've had folks that have moved away. One of our dearest members just moved to Galveston, and it's like, it doesn't even feel right to think that Sunday mornings, 11 o'clock service is not going to have this couple that's now moving to, moving to
Tiki
Galveston.
Island.
Tiki Island. Pirates Beach,
Pirates Cove.
Yeah, they're
Pirates
just
Cove in
and
Galveston.
you're like, you reach out and say, oh well, there's Michael Ginger at Central. You go check them out. There's Moody Methodist down the road. Alicia Colts are great folks, great churches, other Methodist church, and they're like, no, we will be religiously watching Memorial Drive Sanctuary.
church.
It's their church,
And before COVID, that was not, might not have been an option. I mean, even streaming in the way we did it before COVID, I think was very limited.
Yeah.
And even the technology of how people could log. Sometimes we would record it. They have to watch it later.
Yeah.
Because, you get it and it's like freezing up. The technology. I don't even know all this technology. I just know it costs a lot of money. So if you're watching online, send us a donation because this stuff is not cheap.
It's not cheap.
You need your giving.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Put a little slash right
It
there.
is. It does cost more money to do the things we talk about doing.
does.
I mean, this podcast.
You just come out of a budget meeting, so you're
I'm
fresh.
thinking all about but we also vision. We're visioning okay, well, what does this look like?
Right.
And what would that take for us to create a more communal space here on the campus?
Right.
But also create a more communal space virtually.
Yeah.
That's kind of everything that we're wrestling with on a regular basis that I think every church is wrestling with. But
I'll say this: the Sanctuary has more online viewers than the Journey does at Memorial Drive, which means people who moved away from the pandemic, even folks, going back as far as Harvey, folks who moved to New York where their kids live, or Chicago, we're getting viewership from those cities by people they're the ones who are writing in the Facebook comments, like listening this morning from Connecticut, and it's like they are all in with us. And so our Sanctuary quality of stream is great. And so it's good things happening both places.
yeah, and our three services are in the sanctuary. Two are more contemporary.
That's right.
And one's more traditional. But we've seen that in all three of those services, the online engagement is huge.
Right.
I mean, there are as many people every Sunday, and we don't use a multiplying factor.
Right.
We just one ISP. Is one hit, right? So that means that if you have 800 people watching live
On one.
there's more than 800 people watching.
Of course.
And we also don't count if you go watch it on Tuesday, we can find that, but we don't count that on
Right.
who's watching live in real time.
Right.
And but there are other people who watch on. I know somebody who I'm actually going to the hospital in a bit to visit him, and he comes every Sunday, and he comes because he wants the fellowship but he can't hear well. So by 3 o'clock, the service shows up on YouTube, and he can turn the closed captioning on, and he can watch it, and he can read the thing. You just don't think about stuff like that until you run across and this is happening for a lot of people.
Yeah. I heard a shocking stat the other day about social media. We're working on social media stuff at Memorial Drive, and that most Gen Z folks don't listen to the sound on their phones, on watching an Instagram video. And that's why closed captioning is so important to have on your videos, because you'll sit there. I was talking with a social media kind of guru in our church who's going to help us out a little bit. And she's like, see that kid over there? And there's this 17-year-old guy, and there's got no volume. He's not watching it. But he's watching. You can see the videos shine off his glasses, and he's just watching videos, but with all the closed captioning on it, whether that be TikTok or Instagram. He's just reading that.
That's what Jeff's been doing when he does the reels from the podcast.
Yeah.
They all have the
captions.
creative closed captions on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that, and I noticed the same with me. I mean, I'm scrolling, whether it's Instagram or whatever, by default they're all muted,
Yeah.
and most of the time I never unmute them because there's
Same.
closed
And it does a
captioning.
pretty good job on the closed captioning, guys, but also it can really. So we had a pumpkin fest this past weekend at the church, and I was going to be in the dunk booth, and the closed captioning said duck broth.
Nice.
So
That's a better idea than that.
I think so.
They wanted to marinate you.
You
in
want
the
to?
duck broth.
Hey,
Duck broth.
want to get weird? Come watch Pastor
watch
Jarboe.
Pastor Jarboe
get putting
Get put in
duck,
duck
broth. Oh
nice.
my gosh!
I have one thought.
Yeah.
There was a church that I had helped out with maybe 6 months ago, and they were doubling down on like anti production value in their stream to try and push people back into live. And I was like, do you realize that now your digital footprint to the world, when people go to look and see what your services is like, there it looks like security camera footage.
I want our stuff to look like crap so people will come back to church.
And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I think it's.
I want to
think-
be a part of that.
Yeah, I think
Hey.
it is right to double down on what the future is going to look like instead of doing the hold the line.
Yeah,
thing.
and I there was a church that strikes
Great
me
point.
like there was a church here locally, very conservative Baptist church.
Yep.
And people were not coming back after COVID, and the pastor just got up and said, "Let me tell you all something.
Go on.
You better get your fanny
You better get-
back to church." I mean, it was like this, like God's coming after you,
Oh.
you lazy,
You
slothful,
lazy boy.
Yeah, I mean, went after, and then finally people were like, "Hey, you need to calm down because that's just not you're fighting against a cultural wave that you can't. You're powerful and you're influential and you're big. You ain't that big.
No.
You've got to figure out. I mean, there was like a church also that like mandated. There were Sunday school classes doing Zoom.
Yeah.
and they said, "Nope, no more Zoom. Can't do Zoom. Only in person. No Zoom." No recording, no Zoom, because it was trying to say force them back. Well, you got older people, and they're like, "Look, I love my church," but you know, people were scared. Some people still operate like that.
That's right.
And I think you're right. I think yeah. The other thing is like, well, let's look around and see. Oh, this church this is the crappiest online thing I've ever seen. That's must be a horrible church. They don't care about anything.
But here's what I hear: they're doing it because they want people back in. It's,
No.
it's you see what they're doing. That's why they're doing.
They should have at that bottom, like, this really is crappy because we'd rather you be here. We're really great.
We are really great.
We're really great, and it's way better in person. So don't judge us based on this. We just intentionally want it to look like it's horrible.
Yeah. No.
Hey,
No.
Well, we were talking about all. What else do we want to talk about? Anything else? Sometimes we just do like
Yeah.
whatever floats your boat.
That's
kind of
good. What else is there? I mean, there's so much good happening. I think like also just like Memorial Drive, Chapelwood, churches that sometimes are articulated as like they've got this like. You know, it's like this upcoming Friday is the Stratford Memorial football game. Did you know that?
The War of the Beltway.
War of the Beltway
8 War.
Beltway 8 battle. And some people can treat Memorial Drive UMC and Chapelwood UMC that same way. It's the Beltway battle. But it's been cool to watch the connectionalism and camaraderie between the two churches. And like, especially like for my mind, when I think about connectionalism, I go to this example, yes, because I live it, but like I've watched our special needs ministries between the two churches really unite in helping create spaces for special needs adults and children, and we've linked our powers together, our strengths, and said, no, let's not say like, well, this one's better here and this one's better there, but like we're in this work together, and I've just been like really. It's been honoring work to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and sitting in with me.
Yeah.
Podcast?
Do I have a podcast?
Yeah, how can people
Yes, this is a
Find you.
great story right here. Go ahead, tell it.
Yeah, we have a podcast. It's called Work It Out over at MDMC. It's me and Pastor DeAndre Johnson, who's been on your
cool.
podcast
Yes,
before.
DeAndre.
And it's a little are you familiar with ESPN?
Yep.
It's this. It shows sports and does all this stuff.
Like,
yeah.
pardon the interruption or around the horn.
Yeah,
where they
kind
have
of
the little countdown.
That little
boxes.
countdown, and we talk about culture, pop moment, something kind of scandalous, and then we do a quote of the day, and DeAndre and I just riff back and forth with one another and talk about Sounds a lot like another podcast, maybe. And we riff back and forth with on cultural moments and how faith can interact with it and all. Work it out, coming from Philippians 3, of course. Work out your faith. Work it out. Is that who are you singing?
Shake
right
It
now?
Off.
Shake it. That should be our. Do you
That
think,
needs to be your rundown, though, is Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Who's making who more famous?
we know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, because Taylor Swift was nothing before she started.
Nothing before.
Dating the football
Yeah,
player.
we're gonna work it out though.
Well, hey, thanks for being with us, sharing a little time. Make sure you subscribe, like the podcast. That's always a good thing to do. Oop, I'm saying,
Smash it.
smash it like it. Yeah.
Zabba,
It does
zabba.
help. It does help. And Matt Russell will be back next week. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Don't know.
But if you need another 7 to ever fill in,
How
just call me. I'm in the parking lot waiting.
Well, hey, I'm John Stevens.
And I'm Michael Jarboe.
And this is Pod Have Mercy.